With these words, I wish to invite the chief guest of today, Dr. Rashmi Jeta, who needs no introduction, let me tell you. He needs no introduction. He's the winner of Dada Saheb Phalke Award. He's the winner of many international film festival awards, and he is the source of inspiration and motivation. He is leading from the front. And therefore, let me not talk about Dr. Rashmi Jeta. I must let him talk now. Over to Dr. Rashmi Jeta. Let us give a round of applause and welcome the chief guest today, Dr. Rashmi Jeta.
The topic today is Empowered Youth and Empowered India. But prior to that, let me congratulate all of you on this Independence Day. See, this independence, which most of us were not there in 1947. We all know about the independence in history by reading a few books. And through those books, we remember Nehruji, Patelji, Gandhi, and Dr. Ambedkar and Subhash Chandra Bose, or so many freedom fighters were there who built the history for a long span of time. If you remember, in the 20th century, especially the beginning of 20th century, India fought a lot of non-violent wars against the British colonial setup. This was a non-cooperation movement, as you all know, in 1920, and then civil disobedience movement in 1930, and then Quit India movement in 1942, and finally we drove them out. We came out from the cruel clutches of colonialism, and that was the real success. See, we became independent. We became politically independent. It's true. But there is something that today, when we try to go back to the past, we dive into the past, we miss out something. See, in the long journey since 1947, we have built a new India. We have made a strong India. We have registered our victories and success in many fields of life. There's no doubt about it. But still, we sometimes, as Braj was just mentioning, that only 7, where we have the population of 130 crores in India, we get only 7. Why so? There's something missing out there. This is what we have to discuss. This is what we have to think. You see, in 19th century, there was a movement called Renaissance. And when there was a Renaissance, it was Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Dayanand Saraswati. There were many great leaders who tried to build a new India. Vivekanand, they wanted to give one message, that if we create new Indian, we will create new India. So we have to have a different vision altogether. As Braj has mentioned that he's about me, that I'm a filmmaker and a professor. You see, this also filmmaking is not the same type what we normally watch in theaters or on several other platforms. This filmmaking is also filmmaking with a meaningful cinema concept, a concept which gives you an alternative methodology to think about something, so that you start, dropping those archaic, obsolete ideas of life. You start embracing something new, which will build you strong and which will build your nation strong. My filmmaking has been primarily an educative film, the educational film. The thing that you read in books, if it is shown in picture without any prejudice, without any bias, you would be able to understand things in a better way. And this is what is very, very important for you young brigades. You see, you have to develop a thinking of rationality. You have to develop a thinking of logical analysis. You have to start thinking in terms of universalization of things. There are so many archaic, obsolete ideas of the life that you have to drop now in order to build yourself and in order to build India from a new perspective. Now, what is very important here? If you have time, you go back to the past and try to read certain literature of 1947. And specifically, if you Google 1947, 14th of August, you will find a number of important comments. Had it been today, it would have been a tweet, kind of a thing that you could have seen the tweet from midnight 14th of August till morning 15th of August. But there was no system of digital media at that time. But then you have wonderful comments of Pandit Nehru, you have comments of Vallabhbhai Patel, you have comments of Gandhiji, you have comments of Dr. Ambedkar, you have comments of Bose about Indian independence. Let's see how they looked at this independence and how are we looking at this independence. When we talk of independence, it is not merely independent, it is also strengthening the country and how you and I together can strengthen the country. None of the comments during that time based themselves, their theories on caste, religion, region, or sectarial feelings. There was no regional undertone in any of the comments that a particular region of the country led to the freedom. A particular caste worked very hard to the freedom of the country, or a particular kind of a people contributed alone to the freedom. It was a freedom in complete term. It was a freedom in totality. All the people, all the regions, all the caste, all the communities came together and tried to, throw the British colonialism out of the country. And there was a strong Indian feeling. This kind of patriotism can be seen, they go back to 1947. But what is the context today? Let's see whether we have the same kind of nationalism within us, whether we have the same kind of identity within us. Remember one thing, here we are not talking of individual growth. Here we are not talking of individual empowerment. Had it been individual empowerment, I would have asked you to strengthen your physics, your chemistry, your math, and the knowledge of computer, the knowledge of English or Hindi or whatever it is. It is here your role your contribution to the growth of the country and how that is possible. It is possible only through nationalism.